there is a specific kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. It isn't physical tiredness. It isn't the result of a long day at work or a difficult workout. It is deeper than that. It sits in the marrow of your bones. It is the exhaustion of holding up the sky. I want to speak to the person who feels that if they stop moving, even for a second, their entire world will collapse. You are the one who fixes things, the one who anticipates the needs of others before they even know they have them. You are the low-maintenance friend, the mature child, the one who never caused a scene, never required extra attention, and never, ever failed. When you walk into a room, you are essentially a thermometer. You instantly scan the emotional temperature. Is your partner sighing a little too loudly? Is your boss's silence a sign of disapproval? Is your mother's tone sharp? You adjust yourself accordingly. You shapeshift. You become whatever the room needs you to be to keep the peace, to keep the waters calm. But here is the secret you keep locked away, perhaps even from yourself. You are terrified. Underneath the accolades, the degrees, the reliable reputation, and the perfectly curated life, there is a trembling child who truly believes that your worth is entirely conditional. You believe that you are rent to own, that you must pay for your space on this earth, with achievement, with compliance, and with excellence. And lately, the rent feels too high. The gold paint is starting to flake off, and you are beginning to wonder how much longer you can keep up the performance before the curtain falls. Let's put a name to this ghost. In family systems theory and depth psychology, we often refer to this role as the golden child. But I prefer a different term. I call it the designated savior. Let's look at an avatar for this experience. Let's call him Alex. When Alex was 7 years old, he learned a very dangerous lesson. Perhaps his parents were fighting, or perhaps a parent was depressed, emotionally volatile, or simply narcissistic. In that chaos, Alex found a way to survive. He realized that if he was good, if he got straight A's, if he cleaned his room without being asked, if he became a miniature adult, the tension in the house would drop. His success became the family's antidepressant. His parents looked at him and said, "At least we have Alex. Alex is the easy one. Alex is going places." This sounds like a compliment, but to the developing brain of a child, it is a heavy golden cage. Psychologically, this is where parentification begins. The roles reverse. The child becomes the emotional caretaker of the adult. Alex learns to suppress his own needs, his hunger, his sadness, his anger, because there is no room for them. The family system is too fragile to handle a child who acts like a child. So, Alex splits in two. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, spoke of the persona and the shadow. The persona is the mask we wear to interface with society. For Alex, the persona is the golden child. It is the high achiever, the peacemaker, the one who has it all together. This persona is bright, shiny, and impenetrable. But the shadow is where we shove everything that doesn't fit the script. For the golden child, the shadow doesn't just contain evil traits. It contains your humanity. It contains your mediocrity, your laziness, your selfishness, your grief, your need to be held. Because you learned that love was actually a transaction I perform. You applaud your amygdala, the ancient alarm bell in your brain, wired itself to view mistake as danger. For most people, making a mistake is embarrassing. For you, it feels life-threatening. Why? Because your nervous system recorded a specific equation early in life. Perfection equals connection. Imperfection equals abandonment. This is not conscious thought. This is neurobiological coding. When you think about taking a day off, or quitting that job you hate, or telling a friend no, your body floods with cortisol. You feel a physical panic. You aren't a perfectionist because you love excellence. You are a perfectionist because you are carrying a survival shield. You are trying to preemptively solve every problem so that no one can ever be angry with you again. But the tragedy of the golden child is this. The mask works too well. Everyone loves the mask. They praise the mask. They give the mask promotions and awards. And you stand behind it, starving, screaming in a soundproof room, realizing that no one actually knows you. They only know the service you provide. And then it happens. The crash. It usually arrives in your late 20s or mid-30s, sometimes later. Jung called this the enantiodromia, the tendency of things to turn into their opposite. The golden child cannot run forever. The fuel source external validation is dirty energy. It burns hot, but it burns out. The crash doesn't always look like a disaster from the outside. You might not lose your job or your house. Internally, however, it is a nuclear winter. It manifests as a sudden, paralyzing apathy. You stare at your computer screen, and the work you used to do in an hour now takes you 3 days. You feel a deep, cynical resentment toward everyone who asks you for help, the very help you used to offer freely. You might find yourself engaging in self-destructive behaviors, drinking too much, overspending, or sabotaging relationships just to feel something other than the crushing pressure of being good. This is your soul revolting. Please listen to me closely. The crash is not a failure. The crash is a correction. Your psyche is trying to save you. The depression, the burnout, the anxiety, these are not symptoms of a broken brain. They are the symptoms of a false identity collapsing. Your shadow is breaking down the door. It is demanding to be sat at the table. The golden child structure was a vessel built for a storm you survived 20 years ago. But you are still carrying the boat, walking on dry land. The weight is crushing your spine. The pivot moment comes when you realize the horrific, beautiful truth. Your competence is your enemy. Your ability to handle everything is exactly what keeps you trapped. As long as you can handle it, people will let you. As long as you are the strong one, no one will ever carry you. You have been waiting for permission to stop. You have been waiting for someone to come along, see how tired you are, and say, "Rest now, I've got this." But they won't, because you've taught them that you don't need it. The only way out is to disappoint them. The only way out is to break the contract. So, how do we dismantle the golden child without destroying the life you've built? We do not do it with 5 steps to better boundaries. We do it with a philosophical death and rebirth. We aim for integration. Integration means bringing the shadow into the light. It means retrieving the parts of yourself you abandoned in childhood to survive. It begins with the practice of sacred disappointment. You must learn to tolerate the anxiety of letting people down. This is the hardest thing you will ever do. When you say no, and the silence hangs in the air, your heart will race. You will feel that old childhood terror, that you are bad, that you are selfish, that you are being difficult. Sit in that fire. Do not fix it. Do not over-explain. Do not apologize for existing. Let the disappointment happen. Watch the world not end. This is how you rewire the brain. You need empirical evidence that you can be mediocre and still be loved. Or, at the very least, that you can be imperfect and still be safe. You must allow yourself to be messy, to be unproductive. What would it look like to spend an afternoon doing something that has no utility, something that cannot be monetized, posted on Instagram, or added to a resume? Can you sit and watch the rain? Can you paint a terrible picture? Can you just be? The goal is to move from human doing back to human being. You have to mourn the years you lost. There is a grief here. You lost your childhood to the needs of others. You became a little soldier before you ever got to be a messy kid. Cry for that kid. They deserved better. But know this, the qualities you developed, your empathy, your drive, your sensitivity, these are not bad. They are just weaponized. We want to take the weapon out of your hand and turn it into a tool. You can still be high achieving, but from a place of passion, not panic. You can still be kind, but from a place of overflow, not obligation. There is a Japanese art form called Kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold lacquer. The breaks are not hidden, they are highlighted. The object becomes more beautiful because it has been broken. The golden child was a statue made of fool's gold, perfect, smooth, and hollow. The person you are becoming is Kintsugi. You are cracked, you are tired, you have disappointed people, you have dropped the ball, and in those cracks, the real gold begins to shine. Not the gold of approval, but the gold of authenticity. It is time to resign from your role as the general manager of the universe. It is time to hand in your badge as the savior of the family. It is time to go home, lock the door, wash the paint off your face, and look in the mirror. The person staring back at you might look tired, they might look scared, but for the first time in a long time, they are real. And that is enough.